What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is Preview Picks, the weekly show where I go over the books that are coming out on Wednesday, give you a rundown as to what they're all about, and whether there's something you should talk to your comic book shop about. To start off with, we're going to go with independent titles, and we're going to hit Archie Comics' Betty and Veronica #2. So this is a book that's been plagued by delays, and some consider it that it's part of Adam Hughes' work ethic that really goes into those things. He really does all the art, he does all the writing, and it's kind of one of those situations that follows along his books wherever he goes, but it's not really that big a deal for me. It's not necessarily an important title, but it has received a little bit of controversy based on the first issue, so it's interesting to see where issue #2 is going to go. Also, no stranger to controversy is Black from Black Mask. So issue #2, if you just take a look at this cover, you see what kind of criticisms it's really inviting. I can't really speak to the content because I haven't had a chance to read it, but ultimately it's definitely one that grabs your attention, and I'm not sure whether it's a good reason or it's a bad reason, but it's definitely one that's out there. We also have Boom Studios, where Namesake #1, written by Steve Orlando, is also taking off, and that is really going to be his only independent original title for the year, and this one follows along as a son tries to go and restore his family kind of thing, but they're from two independent worlds that only overlap every 7 years, so it's interesting to see where that one's going to go. From Image, we also have Green Valley #2, which is written by Max Landis, and this is a book following a set of knights that are in this medieval time frame, and last issue we saw the utter destruction of their hometown, their home city, and the burning of their keep, so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of retaliation we get in this issue as these knights kind of move forward. So we also have Violent Love #1, which is a crime romance book that's in the vein of, Bonnie and Clyde, Natural Born Killers, True Romance, and I'm really interested to see where that book kind of goes and what story it's going to tell. From IDW, to finish up the independents, we also have Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures, and this is issue #1, and it is pure nostalgia. So for those of you that grew up with a cartoon or watching the cartoon now, I have no doubt that you're going to be interested in actually taking a look at this one. Maybe you're going to pick it up, maybe you're not, but it's definitely something that you're going to see on the shelves and you're going to want to take a look at. Once we get done with our independent titles, let's make our way over to Marvel, where we start off with Captain America Steve Rogers #7. So this is the beginning of the Hail Hydra arc, so we get to see more of Captain Hydra, and I'm interested to see what kind of spoilers are going to be in here from Civil War II, because Civil War II technically hasn't finished yet, and this is supposed to be in the aftermath, the wake of Civil War II events. We also have Mosaic #2, which is continuing along, and ultimately the first issue was considerably better than what I thought it was going to be, and I'm really interested to see what kind of character development they put on the main character in this particular book. It's definitely one to watch out for. Another #2 is Clone Conspiracy #2, and hopefully in this one people start fighting, because in the tie-ins and in the first book, there wasn't really a whole hell of a lot of that. There was the occasional conflict between Rhino and Electro, but with the reveal of Dr. Octopus, it was just like, okay, are we gonna get some sort of conflict? Are we gonna start moving this along? And we haven't really got anything from the other tie-ins since that. We also have Avengers 1.1, which sets the old-timey Avengers in a much more modern kind of take on the team, and I'm not really sure what to expect from this one, and I'm not really sure if I'm going to pick it up or not. But another new #1 from Marvel is Black Panther World of Wakanda #1, which is really focused around the story of the Midnight Angels, the ex-Dora Milaje ladies that are out there, and it's really their ongoing adventures because they captured the hearts and minds of so many people in the introduction of Ta-Nehisi Coates' Black Panther. I'm not necessarily sure if this is something I'm planning on picking up, but it's definitely something that I'm going to give a thumb through to see what kind of interesting stories they can tell in this. But when we're talking about new Marvel #1s, we have to talk about Invincible Iron Man #1. So this is the introduction of Riri Williams to the world in her own costume and with her own superhero moniker, which is Ironheart. So this is going to be a little bit more backstory into the Riri Williams character, as well as what brought her to this particular conclusion and why she's taking over for Iron Man, or taking on the mantle of this Ironheart persona and really developing her character. So since Brian Michael Bendis created this character, he's going to be treating her with kid gloves and really developing her along the lines of what he did with, say, like Jessica Jones when he reappropriated her, or Miles Morales as Spiderman, and all these kind of things. He takes very good care of his own character, so I'm really expecting a whole heck of a lot from Invincible Iron Man #1. But my most anticipated Marvel #1 shouldn't be any surprise to anybody if they've been following along, and that is Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows #1. And this is the launch of Gerry Conway and Ryan Stegman's take on the Renew Your Vows series from Secret Wars, and I can't wait to see it. I mean, there is so much good preview art that's come out of it that it's just, I am I'm all aflutter with anticipation for this book because it's representing something that a lot of longtime Spider-Man fans are looking for. They're looking for a situation where one more day doesn't exist. They're looking for a situation where Mary Jane and Peter Parker are together. Why the hell not give him a kid? And with the strength of the Superman storytelling in DC Rebirth, and the fact that Superman, super dad, married Lois Lane, Jonathan Kent is his kid, there's no reason that Spider-Man, one of the most iconic Marvel characters, can't have the same kind of storyline. So I'm really excited to see where this goes, and I've already said it before, but I think that this is going to be the top-selling Marvel book, basically out of the superheroes, in no time flat, especially if Gerry Conway and Ryan Stegman can deliver. But if we're going to stop talking about new number ones, and I really should if I'm going to cut the cord on Renew Your Vows for now, we're going to go to DC where we have Supergirl number 3, and this is something that I'm not really reading. It's not something I'm catching up on. I get some Cyborg, Superman stuff in there, so it's one of those things that I kind of want to let you guys know about. But when we're getting to books that I am reading, let's talk about All-Star Batman number 4. So Scott Snyder said that this has had more development when it comes to the Beast character, ex-KG Beast character, and we're still continuing on with this storyline of where Batman is taking Harvey Dent all the way across country and what that's really going to mean to him. And with the conclusion of All-Star Batman number 3, where Batman now has acid face, it's really going to be interesting to see where this goes. So I'm really excited about that. We also have Action Comics 967 coming out, which is the beginning of the Men of Steel arc. So we saw the Godslayer character introduced a few issues ago, and it's really kind of this floating orb with a Superman symbol on it. Then we met Zane last issue, and now we're really going to start up and we're going to dig into that storyline. And I feel like Lex Luthor is going to come back to a little bit more prominence in the Action Comics book because of it. Flash number 10 is starting up a new storyline, and we have another new artist, so if you weren't a fan of the art in issue number 9, don't worry, you're going to have another chance in issue number 10. So this Speed of Darkness arc should be pretty interesting. And then we've got another interesting arc which is coming up in Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps number 8. So with the conclusion of Hal Jordan and Green Lantern Corps number 7, with Hal Jordan sacrificing himself to defeat Sinestro and essentially blowing up Warworld with the power of will, it's going to be interesting to see how the Yellow Corps and the Green Corps, the fear and the willpower kind of work together to police the universe without their leadership, without the core central members that really embody those things. So that's going to be really interesting. We also have Detective Comics 944, which continues on the Victim Syndicate storyline. So hopefully we're going to get some more development in those particular characters and see what their motivations are, maybe get a little bit more backstory. But we also get to make Batwing a part of the main storyline, so that's pretty cool too. Doom Patrol number 3 drops, and we get to find out a little bit more about Danny. So far, Danny's been a burger, Danny's been a road, Danny's been a brick, and Danny's been an amusement park. So the interesting thing is, what the hell is Danny anyway? So hopefully we get to find out more about that. To finish things off on the regular titles, we're going to go with Wonder Woman number 10, which is the continuation of the Year 1 storyline. So this is basically Greg Rucka retconning the entire origin story and the introduction of Wonder Woman into the DC universe. So he's retelling that so that way he can give her a little bit more accurate and prominent feature inside the DC realm. So I'm really interested to see where he kind of goes with that as she gets introduced to the general world at large. But to finish things off, let's talk about Gotham, because Gotham's getting a brand new superhero in the form of Mother Panic number 1. So this is a Young Animal imprint book, so this is helmed by Gerard Way and the folks over there, and this is going to be really interesting because from what he's been saying, she's going to be a relatively unlikable character, and she's out there exacting vengeance, but she's doing it in Gotham. So she's a social elite. She really hates the people that are around her. She's out there seeking vengeance on them and really kind of focused on the upper crust of people. But the interesting thing is going to be how she interacts with the other superheroes and heroes, the other vigilantes around Gotham, as she is one. So we're probably going to get some Batman, we're going to get some Batwoman, and there's possible, all kinds of different crossovers with the Gotham family in there. So it could be new villains, it could be new heroes, and this is what's going to make it interesting because the web that they're going to have to weave around this whole storyline and things like that, with the interaction between various other Gotham foes and Gotham heroes involved with the Young Animal and the DC side of things, is going to be really cool to see, and I really dig the art. There's a couple really cool variants from Bengal, from Pope, and then, of course, Tommy Lee Edwards is definitely doing a great job with the main covers. So Mother Panic is a very recommended book from me, so definitely check it out and see if it's something that you might like too. So those are my picks for the books that are coming out this week, but I want to know if you guys are picking up something different and what you might think of the ones that I've recommended. So hit me up in the comments down below and we can start that conversation. As always, if you like what you see, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe right there to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.